All right, still attendees kicking in, but I suggest that we get going since it's a pretty a long webinar usually. So we might want to kick off with the agenda first. So welcome all and everybody to this webinar, who is more going to shed a light on everything which has to do with security. Running through the agenda, we're going to have a little discussion on today's topic. Starting off with what is changing within the IT landscape. So we all know that in the course of the last 2 years, we needed to change our way of working. COVID changed a lot in our lives. So that's one thing. So probably all of you know how and what to do within those new way of workings. But the question of today is more and more, how are we going to do this in a secure way? So that's what this session is all about. It's going to be presented by Nicolas. Nicolas is our product manager for everything which has to do with security, and we'll take the lead into this session, talking more about what is the Destiny solution in two flavors, I would say, secure mobile workers and smart card, and how is the offering going to look like? What is Destiny going to put on the market? Maybe some practicalities. Of course, before heading off, see to it that you have a stable internet connection. That should be the case. If not, you can give us a buzz and we can help you with that as well. Check your audio connection. If you don't hear us or see us, you can pop a chat and we'll see how we can help you out. Furthermore, it's very important that you know that you are, maybe the next slide, Nicola, if you would like.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That you're in listen mode only. So please stay on mute during the webinar. The webinar will also be recorded for reviewing afterwards. For the people who are interested or couldn't join, it will be sent afterwards to you as well. Should you have any questions due to the course of this webinar, feel free to pop them in the question section, and we'll treat them after the webinar or after each topic, which can be the case. So let's head off. Up to you, Nicola.
Thank you. Hello to everyone. And I would like to introduce this webinar with a little bit provocative title. But beyond this title, what I want to emphasize is the fact that we move from a fully centralized model to a decentralized architecture. In fact, when I started to work 20 years ago, so in fact, I'm just figuring out that I'm very old, everything was quite simple. When we had to deploy an application, we just put it on an operating system into a server, which was hosted in our on-premise data centers. And to connect users, we just had to deploy a private network offered by a provider. We connected our offices, and our users were directly connected to the application. That was quite simple to troubleshoot and quite simple to secure. But then appeared some things which jeopardized our former policy. And first thing was software as a service platforms. So what it means is that we started to move some business applications from our data centers to internet. And these platforms were not fully under our control anymore. Then appeared the public clouds, or IaaS, infrastructure as a service platforms. And here we were able to move our entire servers from our physical data centers to an unknown place, in fact, because the cloud providers can host it everywhere. So, of course, most of the platforms we use today are in Europe, but it's still complicated to figure out what is the physical location behind. And we were even able to move just our pieces of codes, our applications only, to a certain platform for which we don't even control the operating system. The fact is, not only the server side changed, but we also observed that the periphery was impacted by the change too. Why? Because first, now it's quite simple to open a new office, even in a foreign country, and we just subscribe to a local internet line, and we connect people to the applications directly via internet, if it's a SaaS or a public cloud application hosted, or we can build a VPN tunnel to connect these users to our on-premise infrastructure. In addition, we have more and more people now which are mobile. They have a laptop. They could work from home, from a coffee shop, from an airport. And we must also offer to these people a connectivity to the business applications. So with this dramatical change, some questions rose. First one, are we able to offer a reliable connectivity to business application to all these people? Second question, are we sure that whatever is the location of the employees, we can offer them the same access to all applications or critical applications everywhere? And last point, can we offer them the same level of security everywhere? And of course, ideally, what we would like to get to, it's a global and synthesized overview of both quality of connection and security. And this is what Destiny is working on, building step by step a solution to address these different concerns. And for that, we are working on two different domains. First, homogeneous security, and this will be addressed through the security mobile worker offer. And second point, connectivity. So for the connectivity, last year we released a service called Managed SD-WAN, and this addresses companies with multiple physical locations. And today we release a new service called SmartGuard, which addresses companies with a single internet line. And of course, both connectivity and security solutions can work with each other. So for those who read the specialized press or who read the Gartner reports, I think that you recognized the concept behind our strategy. It's called SASE, or Secure Access Service Edge. It's the acronym is quite complicated. But what does it mean concretely? It means that we want to manage security access and connectivity through a unique system to simplify the day-to-day work of network and security engineers. To develop this strategy, we have a partner, and this partner is Cisco. So why Cisco? First, because they have a comprehensive security portfolio, and they today, that was probably not the case 15 years ago, but now Cisco has a totally different strategy, and they focus a lot on simplicity. And we think that if we want to sustain a good level of security over the time, simplicity is the key. Otherwise, we know that the security posture lower down over the time. So now that I presented the global picture, I want to now detail a little bit our secure mobile workers offer. And first, I will make a statement. What happens today in companies? Not all of them, of course, but some of them. First point, what is the security from which benefits a user at the office? Of course, they have a local anti-malware installed on their laptop or desktop. And in addition, when they browse on internet, they are also protected by a next-gen firewall. This firewall implements different security layers: a standard firewall, an application filtering engine, a web filtering engine, intrusion detection. It's much more used to protect servers, but still it could also be used to protect laptop vulnerabilities, and a network antivirus. Now, what happens when users move to home? For those who have a laptop, they still have their local antivirus, but most of the time, there is nothing more. While all of us know that the threats the cyber threats increases every year. So why do we have a different security posture at home or at the office? I know that probably some of you implement on their laptops VPN clients and ask to their users to be connected every time. And because of that, of course, that means that even when the laptop is at home, users can continue to browse on internet via the enterprise firewall. So the security level is the same at home and at the office. The problem here is that when you do that, you induce a delay in the communications. That means that users can experience poor performance for certain applications. In addition, you have a risk to overload the internet line of your office. Last point, are we sure that the user is connected at 100% of the time? If they experience some problems in terms of performance, in particular for web conferencing or voice applications, it could be that they decide to disconnect the VPN client to have a direct access to internet and to improve the performance of the applications. And at that moment, you don't benefit from the same protection at home and at the office. So what could be a solution? Of course, we could dream and we could say, okay, each user has his own firewall. They bring it at home. And in this way, security is the same at home and at the office. But obviously, it's not affordable and technically it's unfeasible. But in fact, with new technologies, we don't need to do that. Your next-gen firewall offers certain security layers which are of interest for your users. We can move them in a cloud, equip laptops and mobile devices with an agent, and thanks to this agent, we can be sure that security level is the same at home and at the office. So the product we use to implement this offer is called Cisco Umbrella. And the brilliant concept of Umbrella is that, in fact, we don't need to inspect all traffic. When you browse on internet, most of the time you need to convert a website name to a public IP address. And to do that, you use a protocol which is called DNS. Usually, the DNS request is sent to your provider DNS servers. But here, with the Umbrella agent, the DNS requests are redirected to the Umbrella cloud. And the Umbrella cloud maintains a threat intelligence database, and it means that the cloud is aware about the reputation of websites. So if Umbrella knows the reputation of the website that you want to browse on, and if the reputation is good, nothing else happens. You receive an answer to your DNS request and you browse directly to your internet server without induced delay in the communication. If the website is known as dangerous, in this case, your browser is redirected on a web page indicating that you are blocked for security reasons. And now, last use case. What happens if the website is unknown? So in this case only, your traffic is redirected to the cloud and inspected in real time by the different security layers implemented by the Umbrella cloud. Application filtering, web filtering, intrusion detection, network antivirus, etc. And the flow coming from the website to your browser is cleaned up in case of attack or infection. So that means that most of the time, you benefit from a great user experience, and you can have a small delay induced only if the website is unknown and needs a real-time inspection. In addition, because here I talked about the agent, you can also connect the rest of your infrastructure to the Umbrella cloud, even for devices which cannot implement a local agent. For example, printers, smart TVs, smartphones, etc. And in such case, the DNS traffic coming from these devices is inspected, and the applications, the Umbrella applications, offer you a report. This is what this is a screen you see now. And this report highlights all applications which look suspicious. And you can, or we can, because it's a managed service, refine the security policy implemented on Umbrella to prevent suspicious traffic to reach internet, even from devices which are out of control, typically printers or smart TVs again. So we have multiple ways to connect your infrastructure to the Umbrella Cloud. One of them is to implement the SmartGuard service offered by Destiny. And this is a service I will talk about now. So what is SmartGuard? And you understand when you read the title, but it's a managed firewall. So here again, I would like to make a statement. What I think is that today, when you choose a firewall for your company, most of the time you engineers focus on security features. But what I think is that it's much more important to focus on security best practices than sophistication of your firewall. Why? I will give you some examples. First one, and it's really very obvious, when you order a firewall to an integrator, the integrator implements it in your company. And because you don't have local skills related to security products, you are maybe not sure at 100% that your configuration is regularly backed up. The question there is, are you sure that in case of hardware failure can always happen, are you able to restore your configuration in few hours? Are you sure that your integrator has the firewall and the hardware model in stock to be able to replace it in less than 1 day? That's a question that which raises it's really very basic practice. Another example, are you sure that the firmware of your firewall is regularly updated? This is very important because today, a modern firewall, every day, they update their security engines with a security database to have up-to-date intrusion detection system and an up-to-date anti-malware. The problem is that if there is a mismatch between the firmware version and the security engine version, it could be that their security engines are not up-to-date anymore. And in this case, even if you have the best firewall over the world, still you remain unprotected or protected in a way which is not satisfying. A last example, and this is related to remote connectivity. I have seen many times where policy, which allow remote employees to connect to the enterprise infrastructure, are fully authorized to access to the whole infrastructure without further filtering. And this could be a problem too, because when your laptop is infected at home, you want to avoid these malware spread over your infrastructure, in particular on your servers. So these are typically some best practice examples, and this is what today we want to offer through the SmartGuard service. So the service in particular. First, we guarantee that we implement effective process to handle software and physical incidents, regular backup, stock, regular firmware updates. We also guarantee that we properly configure all engines during the initial setup, the security engines, to protect your servers and your laptop. Sometimes some security policies require that SSL decryption is implemented. In such case, we implement these features and we want to be sure that your security posture is the best. Last point, we focus also on the secure remote access policy. We never implement a policy allowing full access from a remote location. We try to restrict the access to only what is necessary for your users. So what is the technology behind SmartGuard? This is what we call Cisco Meraki. You maybe know this brand already. This is part of the Cisco portfolio. And this technology offers multiple things. First point is managed via the cloud. And in our contract, we always offer you an access to the management cloud. It means that you can yourself monitor what we implement, what we do, and you also have an access to the traffic analytics report. And I will talk about it later. Something else which is implemented on Cisco Meraki, it's a full next-gen firewall. So into the box itself, you have a layer for firewall. You can implement NAT operation, application filtering, geographic filtering, and of course, because it's a full next-gen firewall, you can also decrypt HTTPS traffic. You have intrusion prevention and detection engine. We offer also a network anti-malware and a full URL filtering stack. Of course, you have intrusion reports, and when the device detects suspicious traffic, you are alerted, and there is a synthetic report which allows you to understand which kind of security events occurred on your infrastructure. Last point, and I think it's important, of course, when during the initial setup, we are not necessarily aware about which kind of applications are very sensitive to the quality of the line. But fortunately, the box itself, the Meraki box, offers us some traffic analytics, which allow to understand what kind of traffic is carried by the internet line and what is the real-time quality offered by the line itself. And because of these reports, if your users experience bad performance related to some sensitive business applications, we can implement a policy. We can first we can diagnose the problem, and then we can implement a quality of service policy to ensure that all business critical applications benefit from high priority on the device and on the internet line. And of course, as I said earlier, the graphical interface of the cloud offers you a global overview of the quality of service and of the content of the traffic, internet traffic. Okay, so last chapter now, what do we want to offer you at midterm? First, you understood that our first goal is to harmonize your web security policy. We want to offer the same security level for your laptops, everything which is a mobile device, but also at the office. And we want to be sure that this policy is enforced from a single control point, meaning the umbrella cloud system. And this is exactly what we can offer you when we combine SmartGuard offer and Secure Mobile Worker offer. The second step, this is something that we will release in the coming months, is also harmonizing the application access policy, meaning that we want to control from the umbrella cloud the security policy allowing laptops to connect external applications, everything which is hosted in a SaaS platform, but also internal applications, all applications which are still implemented on premise. And for that, we want to control the VPN client or the VPN client-like, because sometimes it's not exactly a VPN client, but what is used as a VPN client must be controlled from the cloud. And so we want both control the connectivity and the security from the same platform. And that's our goal at midterm. So in conclusion of this webinar, today we understand that we move from a fully centralized architecture to something which is totally decentralized. You have applications in SaaS, you have applications in IaaS, and it's very complicated to know how users connect to these platforms. It's complicated to control the security. That's why rose some new security concepts. One of them, the one which addresses the client-side security is called SASE. And Destiny builds step by step a full SASE architecture so you can implement it in a simple way on your infrastructure. And this will be the conclusion of the webinar.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nicolas, for being brief, bright, and almost gone. I've been checking if there were some questions or chats related to the topic of today. It seems that no questions came in, so I think your explanation was really clear. So I'd like to thank you for being present.
Or no one understood a word.
Or no one understood the word because it was in Franglish, to be honest. But that's aside from that. I would like to thank you for being present anyway and for taking the time. Also to the attendees. Very nice to see you all showing up. I hope you've learned a lot about this, and you know where to find us in case we can help you out. Feel free to contact us. And for now, I wish you a very nice day and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.